Great to see you all here today. My name is Tore Rismyhr. I work with sales towards the public sector with Airthings for Business.
Yes, Tore, hi, nice to be here with you. I'm Erwin, I'm the sustainability manager here at Earthings, and I've been working on creating the strategy and how to embed sustainability in our business, in Earthings.
That's awesome for the planet to work with the sustainability for all companies and businesses these days.
Definitely, I think that it's one of the big strategies that every business should be looking forward to be able to actually survive in the next generation. But let me ask you something actually, Trude. Do you know what sustainability actually is? Do you know what it means?
Yeah, we've been working on it a bit with the Airthings, but it's hard to define in a few words because I'm maybe too business orientated. So yeah, I can't really define it in one or few words.
What do you think? Like, if you have to like make it silly, what will be like your first word that comes into your mind when you talk about sustainability?
Resilience, maybe. That could be a good word for it.
That is an amazing word, actually, resilience. I love it. It's actually one of my favorite synonyms, to call it in a way, for sustainability. And as you can see, there's a little planet over here. It's planet Earth. And in this planet Earth, you can see the little lights moving around. And that is actually the high impact that we're having in our planet, we as humans, in the place that we live, in our habitat. And this is quite important because, as you're saying, the resilience is actually about how we adapt to the changes that are happening. And this is very important when we talk about dimensions in development. And we can see that there are actually 3 dimensions right now. And this is how we define development. So it's about people, it's about the economy. You as a businessman, you might know that. And it's also about the planet. So what happening with these 3 dimensions is that we are not able to make them work together. And instead, we're actually making them work against each other. So this means that we have a very big work to do in how to merge them for them to actually be working with each other.
Yeah, that's great because I see the focus on the economy and I always get the request to sell more so we can actually do this sustainability and business at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, it is about how the economy can actually push forward the people and the society, and how the economy can actually push forward the planet, but not the other way around. The economy is actually pushing in a negative trend the people and the planet.
Cool. I really love the things we have been doing at the Airthings to get all the people involved in this area to understand more about what should we do to be a more sustainable company.
Yes, actually, that is very good that you bring it out, because in Earthings we have been working a lot with all the companies. So we've been very dealing with the idea that everyone should be participants in actually creating a framework, creating goals, creating ownership of sustainability in the inside of the company at Earthings. So as you see in the pictures here, you can see how everyone was involved. We were actually analyzing what air quality was, how these trends were linking to the business, how they were linking to the planet and to the society, how our products, like the picture in the middle, in the top middle, you can see how we were actually analyzing the compounds and everything of the components and the electronic components in the devices to understand how our life cycle of the product is actually managing and working out, and where is this impact happening.
Yeah, it was really cool sessions that everyone got really excited and psyched about. So we had a really good time learning more about this. But I also remember that you showed us the framework that the UN is basing all of this on.
That's really true. Actually, we have been working on the Sustainable Development Goals. This is a framework that we've been using as a guideline. And this guideline has helped us very much to understand how to see sustainability as a holistic perspective and not just as a one angle kind of thing. Because many people, when we talked about sustainability, they only think that it's something about NGOs should do, or that actually only environmental things to do. But it's actually about the planet, it is actually about the business itself, and it is actually about the society, so how the business is going to influence this. And then when we see the Sustainable Development Goals, we see that it's a framework where you see different aspects around these 3 categories or these 3 dimensions. So you see things like no hunger, you see things like clean energy, you see things like reducing inequalities, consumption and production, for example, or even the climate action. So when we see the framework, we made an analysis where we auto-diagnose ourselves. That's how we started. So we placed it like in the picture in the middle where it says how are things is today. So we phrased it in a way that understanding where our impact was. After this, we decided to make some goals into it, and now we're doing some actions to actually make it happen. But this is a very circular way of thinking. So we're always analyzing ourselves, we're always creating new goals, and we're always acting. And the feedback loop is just going forward and forward.
Yeah, it's cool to see the consciousness about how everything concerns everything in this, and how we put air things into that mix as well.
Exactly, and actually it is a 12 trillion US dollar market. So it's quite a huge market that we can actually aim for. So that's very important also to know that this is not only an NGO thing, it's actually an opportunity for businesses.
Huge numbers there, absolutely.
Yes. And actually what Earthings did was something very important, was that we actually embedded this planet, people and business into our core values. This means their love and focus, our core values. And what we wanted to do is that they don't play indifferent, like if they were separated, but they actually merge them, like in the picture in the right, that's basically what we, how we started focusing today, our sustainability strategy, and how the planet, if we take care of the planet, we're able to take care of the people. And if we're able to take care of the people, we will be able to take care of the business. But if we focus on the business in the inside, and our business, how that impacts the society, we will have a better impact in the planet. And that is our focus, always to go into the 3 dimensions of development. After all of this merging of these 3 dimensions, we went to an analysis and we identified these opportunities and challenges and some risks actually that we had through our supply chain. And we separate them into 3 different dimensions, so we always kept that in mind. So we have the people, the planet, and business, and then in the planet we can see like our risks that we have in climate change, in waste management. In the people we have things that are very important for us, like equality and diversity and inclusion, so very important, but also empowering the world to breathe better. That means everything that we do against health, against not only about health, but also about energy consumption also, because we want to empower people to be breathing better. And then we went to the business section, that is like all the economy. And something that came up a lot was how do we innovate for a circular economy? And that was quite fascinating. And something to bring up, our community engagement project, for example. I don't know if you heard about Air for Kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Air for Kids is a platform, a very fantastic platform for educating children. So if you have any kids out there, just like remember airforkids.com, and there you can actually have some quizzes and some challenges and a different perspective to learn about the air quality for children. It's a very cool project.
That's awesome. Do we have any concrete goals to measure our efforts by?
We do have some concrete goals, and we have actually based some goals based on these challenges and also on our prioritization of the Sustainable Development Goals. As you saw, there were 17, and that's quite a lot. But the way that they work is that they're interconnected to each other. So that means that if you act in one, you may act in another. So we decided to prioritize 5 of them. That is good health and well-being, economic development or economic growth, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, and climate action.
Cool.
Today, in this presentation, we're going to be focused only on 3 of them, which is global health and well-being, sustainable cities and communities, and the climate action.
Yeah. What do you mean with sustainable cities and communities?
Well, this is actually all that we do inside of how do we can make actually building smarter, and how this building smarter will actually have an impact in the health of the people and in the planet. And you will see why in a couple of slides.
Yeah.
Earthings has actually made some internal KPIs, so things that we want to reach out in the next 5 years.
Key performance indicators for those who don't know the abbreviations of those.
Thank you. It always gets messy when we do all of these abbreviations.
Yeah.
But in the planet, actually, we have decided to reach 1 million tons of CO2, to reduce 1 million tons of CO2 emissions equivalent through energy optimizations in buildings. That means that the capacity that our sensors have to reduce energy in buildings is drastically amazing. We have the capacity to actually reduce almost 20% of the energy in buildings.
Oh.
And then we want to enable more than 4 million people to breathe a healthier air. This means how do our sensors can impact the lives of people to make changes into the way that they treat their air quality, indoor air quality.
So, Erwin, why do we measure exactly these points?
Well, this is very clear for us because we can have a very high impact on the optimization of the energy in the buildings and the health for people breathing a healthier air. Right? So this means actually the buildings, I don't know if you know, but if you take the global energy consumption and you take buildings and construction, this means that 40% of the energy consumed in the world goes to this actually section. Wow. Compared to, for example, transportation that is only around 28% and industry that is 32%. So it's a quite high energy intensive sector, the building and the construction.
So it's huge wins to be made on making the buildings more sustainable and keep the energy at the lowest possible rate.
Yeah, so it has like good for the planet and good for the economy. So that's pretty good. And then you have like good for the people.
Absolutely.
Why good for the people?
I know this, because that's a scary fact that we actually spend 90% of our time indoors. Isn't that true?
I have heard that and I've learned that a lot here in our things. Actually, I've been very surprised about that. Yeah. There's like this fact that always, every time that I listen to it, I find it fantastic and fascinating. And it's that actually humans spend more time indoors than some whale species spend underwater. Sometimes I'm a bit like...
That sounds crazy.
It is crazy, no? I also feel that it's quite thrilling, actually.
Yeah. Because when I look at my life, I mean, I spend, let's say, 7 to 8 hours in bed sleeping, then 7 to 8 hours at least in the office every day, and then we are at home with our family. So I think 90% is quite correct. So it's quite scary.
And then some people don't even go to run or anything. So some people just like are very indoor kind of generation, no? That we call
because when I go out for a run, I breathe a lot. So these figures are also quite amazing. 28,000 breaths every day, every human.
That's quite a lot. I've never thought about that before.
No, but it's amazing to think that this is something all humans do. And when I every now and then go into McDonald's, I go in there and I see what's inside the chicken McNuggets or the hamburger or whatever. I get specifically what's in it. And when I go out working out or having a good day walking around, my watch is registering everything I do.
So why are we not measuring our air quality?
Exactly. I mean, we actually have 28,000 breaths every day putting into our lungs with everything that's in the air. So what's in the air really? Isn't it just fresh air?
Well, actually, there's a lot of pollutants, a lot of contaminants happening in the air. Yeah. That goes around CO2, that goes about volatile organic compounds, radon, PM, particulate matter, nitrogen.
Yeah. So PM, that's the dust that's flowing around, especially in cities, from the roads and everything.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Because all these are scary abbreviations that people don't really know about. But PM, I mean, that's the dust that comes out from the streets. I feel that in the city every day.
Yeah, it sounds like a science class or something, like going back to school.
Exactly.
So I found something very interesting, this quote from this book, Healthy Buildings, from Joseph Allen and John Macomber, which says the person who manages your building has a bigger impact on your health than your doctor.
Wow. That's quite a responsibility for someone who's running a building.
Yes, so the actual, this impact has a big responsibility, as you were saying, and we really need to accelerate the transition to a sustainable and healthy buildings. This is what we really need to be focusing on.
Yeah.
So it's not only about health, but I've heard also about the cognitive levels.
Yeah, absolutely. I work a lot with schools around in a lot of countries. And we see that students that have fresh air in the classrooms, they have a lot less errors and their cognitive abilities are way much higher. We saw an interesting survey from Sweden saying that in the 9 first years of school, if you have one student in a building with bad air and one with good air, after those 9 years, the one with the better air would actually be 1 year higher up cognitive-wise. So
wow, that is an amazing fact.
It's possible to measure that in money, but imagine just how much better it will be for everyone when they have fresh air in this.
That is quite a fantastic fact, actually.
Yeah, so there's a lot of studies that underline this, and schools, kindergartens, nursing homes are one of the most important things actually to have control of the air.
But what should you do to actually improve this air?
First of all, you see that if you start increasing the ventilation in offices, you see that the overall cognitive abilities to soar up really huge increases in this.
Just by ventilation?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And strategic thinking has also been measured, so we have the references from where these studies are from, but it also shows that the strategic thinking, so when you're sitting in a boardroom, for instance, making big decisions after 4 or 5 hours, you're about to make some bad decisions. Somebody's actually saying that the high CO2 levels in a classroom can be the equivalent to having 2 beers, so that you actually get a bit distorted with that.
Maybe that's the main reason why we haven't been able to reach a sustainable environment.
Absolutely.
We're making bad decisions in the bad air quality.
Yeah, and you see also that all the information that you get in, that you get better use of it. So that's quite amazing to see that in Norwegian public buildings today, we have the State of the Nation made by the Advisory Board of Engineers in Norway.
Yeah.
And it says that it has a huge lag of maintenance, which is about 140 billion Norwegian kroners. So the buildings really need to be worked on now. And it's also obvious that it's much better for the environment, as I understand from you now, that instead of us tearing down all the buildings, we should take care of them and use sensor technology in them.
Exactly. I mean, the idea is to improve what we already have. And of course, like, there is always room for something new, but in a responsible way.
Absolutely. So we see that also in different markets. We see in the Netherlands that they are working now on legislation saying that all classrooms need to have CO2 meters, so that they will follow this and make sure that when the CO2 levels are up, the teacher is mandatory going to give the kids some time off and open the windows and increase the ventilation. And you see the same thing in Germany. They also have this, and we have also done studies in the US with the school district there that we have shown that they have saved a lot of money also with energy consumption that we were talking about.
That is
so
correct.
They get smarter kids and lot cheaper on the electricity bill.
That is quite
so
fantastic.
This is a good win-win.
And you were mentioning Norway just in some slides before. Have we have any kind of these examples here in Norway?
Yeah, absolutely. We work with a lot of municipalities in Norway, and I can show you some examples from these 3, Sunndal, Haugesund and Hemsedal, representing the average Norwegian municipalities.
Yeah. Hemsedal is this place for the skiing, no?
Absolutely. Hemsedal, the best outdoor air in the world, so they started thinking, why shouldn't we have the best indoor air as well?
That's fantastic.
So what they started out with was monitoring the air, and then they went out publicly and said, why are they doing this? And explaining, as you see in this newspaper clipper, what's so important about this white plastic thingy on the wall.
Oh yeah, they're pointing in the picture, I can see that.
Exactly. So they have put AirThings sensors in all classrooms, all kindergartens, all nursing homes, doctors' offices, and of course also the city hall where they make all the big decisions. So that's important that they do this and also include the public in this. So not only is it important to share this information with the public, it really pays off for them as well. They have lowered their electricity bills and now have a lot less sick leave with the people working in these buildings. And they also got awarded the Golden Award for Best Municipality in Norway to use all the new sensor technology in this.
But I think that this technology is going to be very essential for coming back to, let's call it normal,
Yeah.
to the old us, no?
And people should really know that if you don't measure anything, you can't fix anything. So you really need to measure it, either to show that your air is good inside, or you have some areas to improve it. So when you first measure it, then you can do something about it.
Definitely data is something that is essential to understand the reality and to make an auto-diagnosis, to be able to create a goal, to be able to act. That's how we are working here in sustainability, and that's how we should work in everywhere.
So this goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
And also we see in Sunndal municipality, the real estate manager of the municipality said that the politicians came to him and said that we want a run-through of all the buildings that our citizens use. So they found out that the only way to do this in a low-cost, feasible way is to use sensor technology. And they started working with us in Airthings, and they are also another municipality that now monitors air in all their public buildings.
That is fantastic.
And we have some examples also from Haugesund. At this nursing home in Haugesund, they had a lot of sick leave that they couldn't really explain at all. And it was at one department only, and they started measuring the air. And as you can see, before they did the efforts on this and after, that they were really high on the VOCs, as you know, are the organic compounds or really bothering gases that you smell. So they could actually measure this and see that this came from people washing their hands with alcoholic disinfection fluids.
Oh, wow.
And every day, 2 or 3 times every day, they have the changing of the guards in the nursing home.
Okay.
And they went into a small room which didn't have sufficient ventilation. And they saw that they were breathing in this high concentrated alcohol smell. So it really hurt their mucus, and people were out on sick leave. And then after they figured this out, they said that from now on we're not using the alcoholic-based disinfectants, but start to use soap and water instead and lower the temperature in the room. And then you can see magic happening, and they had almost 70% less sick leave in this area. So, and another area that they're working on is these time-consuming reports, because municipalities in Norway, they have to report everything all the time. So what they're doing here is following up with each building every year. And this in Haugesund, they used to spend about 5 or 6 hours just to document the indoor air quality. And now they have reduced all this reporting with our simple system from our dashboard down to 10 minutes to each building. So there you can also see that return on investment is fantastic in these cases. So reducing the sick leave is very much important. And for an example, if you have a teacher that is sick one day in a Norwegian school, you call in a replacement, and this will cost the municipality about 7,000 kroners or 680 euros approximately every day that they are sick. So imagine just getting in there and reduce the sick leave with the teachers. It's a huge win.
And this is only done by understanding the air that we breathe.
Exactly. And that is done, as you said, with looking into the air, being more conscious about all of this. And as you can see, for a summary, what we do is everything that we've been talking about today, Erwin. I can actually now see that sustainability and business is going hand in hand with Airthings.
Completely. And we have been talking about a healthier indoor air. Mm-hmm. We have been talking about a productive work environment and how do we improve cognitive abilities just by measuring the air quality. And this we're going to be done if we are able to make buildings smarter, by optimizing and reducing the total energy consumption in buildings, and making the buildings actually last longer. Yeah,
and as we've seen today, if we make the buildings smarter, we make the people smarter as well. So that's a real win-win situation.
A complete win-win.
Yeah. So, Erwin, always cool to talk with you, and let's go out there and make everyone breathe better and live better.
I completely agree, Ture. Thank you very much for today.
And feel free to contact us at Airthings anytime.
Yes, and we're ready for some questions and answers.